Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be looking at Chainlink and its valuation against Bitcoin and against the US dollar. First off, I want us to take a look at the current Bitcoin price action. We're currently, again, still range bound. We're up about 2.24% on the day at 15,650, which is a pretty it's a pretty uh, decent percentage. It's about $350 gain since the closing price of yesterday. However, we are still within this range bound looking position here with Bitcoin. So in actuality, we're not too far off on the previous opening and closing day prices of Bitcoin for the past few days since we got up here on the 5th. Currently, right now, with the Bitcoin dominance chart, we're still hugging the line. If we flip it to the weekly, it's probably a little easier to see, but we are trending downwards, but we are still pretty close to the trend line, and we could spend a few weeks, much like what we saw here, few weeks at this line until we start seeing a reversal to the downside in Bitcoin dominance. Until then, we're kind of just in a wait and see phase. However, that hasn't stopped altcoins from performing fairly well the past few days. Um, you can make the argument that we're in such a bullish phase of Bitcoin, and it's easy to say like we're slowing down, but when you look at the week, it's just been green candles for the past 6 weeks, and I'm pretty sure we mentioned like around here like oh Bitcoin's gonna start moving sideways, and on the day it looked so as well, but we're also we're seeing that same kind of situation here. So it's always hopeful to think. However, again, it's Wednesday. There's 4 days left in the week. We have all of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to see where the price lands on this week. But right now, actually, if you keep in mind of like the weekly candle of Bitcoin this week, we're forming a hammer candle, hammer formation, which is, uh, uh, if I'm not mistaken, a very bullish indicator. So, um, again, entire toss up on what on the fate of altcoins right now. For the moment, it seems pretty. We're rallying higher, as I'm sure you can notice in your portfolios. But um, as a bullish candle here indicates that we have a potential to go higher. There are numerous factors to consider, and definitely arguments to say that this is where we're going to slow down. We have been riding up insanely high the past few weeks. We have broke considerable resistance lines or perceived resistance lines. Everyone, including myself, thought that 14,000 was going to be the limit that Bitcoin kind of cooled off because, well, we were there. Um, uh, like the last times we were there, it was like very significant levels. However, that didn't deter Bitcoin, and it just shot right through it. Just like how it shoots through 6K here, and everyone thought that this was going to be the hardest resistance that Bitcoin's faced thus far. Um, Bitcoin has proven to us that it doesn't really care. However, when we look at the weekly candles and especially the daily chart, we get to see how high the RSI is. It is as high as the 2019 bull run. That's one factor to consider, but I wouldn't necessarily say to rely on that. We are uh, quite considerably high from the 20-week moving average. Uh, I believe we are still, if I can set this, we are still about 36% above the weekly moving average. And when we saw in the previous bull market, we saw that yes, Bitcoin can and will be quite high up against the moving average, the weekly moving average. Like here we have a 45%. Up here was 62%. Up here, it was 49%. Um, but at some point, it does come back down and retest the moving average. So this is something that we might see coming in. Yes, we're at 36, but I doubt that like 60 to 80%, at least in this stage of the cycle for Bitcoin, will be the commonality above of a percentage above the weekly moving average. I think that the market's a little bit more efficient than it was 3 years ago. So because of that, uh, maybe like a 40% would be a price range above the moving average that would be likely, in my opinion, to come back down to the moving average. However, Bitcoin has proven to us the past few weeks that it's able to still define all odds. However, with that said, let's look at the Chainlink chart. So here we have it on the weekly against Bitcoin, but I'll flip it to the daily. So ever since this peak here in August, we have been in a downtrend, and as I've said before, we've dropped like a considerable amount from the wick to the wick. It was about 60% drop. Right now, it seems that we're rebounding, but will remind you that like a similar pattern happened here, where it tried to reverse and then it could not make a higher high. Um, a higher high in my understanding would probably be something to beat this at about 120,000 sats. That's where I think Chainlink would have needed to make or at least meet to print a higher high. In this case, currently we're looking to beat a level of 96,000, 97,000 sats to try to make a higher high. Um, but we can only hope. Uh, but as we've seen in times of past, Chainlink has been going through these, you could say, mini bubbles, so to speak. Like we had one here where it moved up 300%. Um, you could do this, which is like 138, 140, and then the final one was like 337%. At the same time, these blow off tops or these peaks also corrected heavily. We saw a 60% fall, 30% fall, 40% fall. You get the idea. And when you look at the other indicators, for example, the MACD, look like in comparison to everything else, Chainlink seemed very extended, and momentum had swung pretty hard to the downside. At the same time, you can look at the RSI here as well, and we can even flip it to the weekly to get a clearer picture. And you see the RSI has never been higher than it was since we peaked out recently. So with this in mind, it kind of seems that uh, it's time to accept. Okay, yeah, this is Chainlink was getting a little too extended, even within it in this bullish trend. Chainlink needs to pull back, cool off, reload, and rebound. Um, and even though we have technicals to say that it's cooling off, that doesn't mean the run is over. In the macro trend, it's still up until this reverses or gives or this starts really moving sideways for months. um, my perception on Chainlink will not change, because when we look at since its inception, it's been going up. Um, it's it's quite astonishing. When we look at the Link USD chart, for example, also we see that we topped out here on the RSI. We made contact to about to roughly like the high 70s on the RSI, and we topped out here, and we went down, and we topped out here, and we went down. And the Chainlink USD chart is doing a little better. It seems to be holding onto the 20-week moving average and has been holding ever since. But I would argue that this move here is due to the bullishness of Bitcoin. Chainlink wasn't dropping as like it was dropping, but despite it dropping, Bitcoin's bullish price would drag Chainlink's USD value up, um, which is why we see a stop of the reversal and a stop of the downtrend and making a reversal. So, what do I see with Chainlink now? Well, one thing when we look at the daily chart on against Bitcoin, um, we do see like a falling wedge pattern being made, and it's pretty much at the point where, well, we'll see where it is because it's right up at that line. But I'll draw it out here. So we see this falling wedge pattern happen here, where we made contact up here, here, and then uh, two contacts to the bottom, and now, oh sorry, and a third contact to the top. I wouldn't say that was a contact to the top. So three contacts to the top, two at the bottom, and we're making a fourth attempt here. It looks like we're rebounding off of that. We're bouncing off of that, but the day's just begun. We'll see where the price falls at the end of the day. But this would be quite bullish if Chainlink can get enough volume and make a convincing breakout out of this formation. And if that is the case, um, I think the case for altcoins in general will show some more bullishness. Um, and remember when I said the past few days it has been bullish for altcoins. Chainlink's up, I believe, like 40%. Sorry, 23% from wick to wick. I mean, we can even if you bring if sorry if you bring this down to the wick, it's more about like 30%. Ethereum's the same way. We rebounded and we are up from the wick to wick about 13%. And Chainlink against the US dollar is at $13, where we did have a low of about 770 in September, and made a local bottom at $10.30 just at the beginning of the month. We're now at November 11th. We're coming into the middle of November. So we'll definitely see at this point, because at this point we want to see the Bitcoin dominance trend to pivot and pivot down. We're wanting to see Bitcoin starting to, it's been bullish today, but we're kind of really hoping for a range bound Bitcoin to keep it here, or even if it dips down below, um, even further to say like 14,000, like that would still be very bullish if it moves sideways, and then that's when these altcoins like Chainlink can make a convincing breakout, making a higher high and a higher low, and then and then create the reversal pattern that I think a lot of people are waiting for. But we'll definitely see. Uh, I would say uh, right now we are looking at this pattern here, but I think it would be equally important to keep in mind of where the dominance is going. Right now we're up on the day, and but again we are hugging this trend line. We are below it. That is the key part. That's I think the most important part right now when we're looking about our altcoin positions, is not just looking at the formation patterns on the specific coin you're looking at, but really keeping a close eye on the dominance to see um, how Bitcoin is interacting with the rest of the market, um, and also keep in mind of Bitcoin's price. Looking back at Chainlink, we also see that we have made two bottoms here at the lower 30s. Um, it almost looks like a W recovery that we're seeing. So hopefully this is that can play out, and that would be a great look on a reversal pattern for um, momentum to start moving up. When we look at the MACD, we see something similar. We have been trending up ever since, and so hopefully right now it's more so because momentum had slowed down to the downside. I mean, we're still trending down, but not as hard as it was at the near at the beginning. So the MACD is almost kind of resetting itself. We'll see a better. We would see a better picture because like right now it's crossing on the daily. I think on the weekly it's still falling. Yeah, on the weekly it's still falling. If we get a convincing breakout for the week, we will see momentum swing like this, like that, and then hopefully we can make a meet up at the same levels at the MACD. But we'll definitely see it again. I think it's most key part is looking at the dominance and seeing where it goes. Because if this breaks the trend, then you know it's not a point of like sell your altcoins, but just don't expect them to make any good moves for a few weeks at least. The show for Bitcoin will keep going, and it would be an encore for Bitcoin, and altcoins would have to take another step back, at least against the Bitcoin valuations. But that's all I really want to talk to you guys about today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button down below. If you really like it, consider subscribing as well. I'll see you later, you guys. Take care.